You're not eating vegetables. You're gonna fucking die. And shit. Well, week 1 of the carnivore diet is now complete. And, I have some more thoughts on what I'm going to do going forward because, it's not all fucking roses. There are some things about it that I'm not, on board with, and then there's some things that are just fucking phenomenal. So I kind of wanted to go through some of my observations for the first week of carnivore, complete week of carnivore, including my weekends and some more socialness. So I, no matter where I go, no matter who I talk to, even fellow ketos sometimes, I get looks. I get this, something between deer in the headlights and you're fucking sane looks. Especially if I'm going out to eat and I have to do the whole all I want's meat. I don't want anything else. If it ain't meat, don't bring it. And the looks that people give you when you tell them you're doing this are, I don't even think fasting was this bad when I first started out. And, at first I had a few concerned looks, but fasting isn't, it's not like a whole new thing. But we've been so beaten and kicked and yelled at that animals are fucking bad for the past 50 years that everyone just assumes that that's the case. I've heard everything from you're going to have a fucking heart attack to, you need carbs to survive, you need this, you need that, you need this. And most of these are spouted off from people who get their nutrition information out of mainstream fucking media, who gets their nutrition information from shitty biased epidemiology studies, which support their advertisers in a lot of cases. And that is just not how you fix your health. And if you don't believe me, take a look around at our health statistics and how are we doing as far as long-term health goes. Just look around. You don't have to look far. We're fucked. We're fucked because we've been listening to this carbohydrate fucking grain-based fucking agricultural diet laced with chemicals that are designed to tank our immune system, to remove the minerals from our vegetables, making them a shell or a shadow of what they should have been, and really just destroying our health. How many people in your life have you lost to these chronic diseases? Diabetes, check. Cancer, check. Heart disease, 2 fucking checks. I lost a lot of people to heart disease in my family. Obesity, check. There's just so many people that we continue to just watch slowly die and do nothing about it. And that's one of the reasons I do this, is because of that. And in order to reverse my own health, I was pre-diabetic, as many of you know. You guys are probably those of you who watch me regularly are sick of me hearing saying that, but I always say it because there's always that new motherfucker that comes in that doesn't know shit about how I'm doing. or what I've done, or where this comes from. They just assume that this motherfucker with a beard don't know shit. Look at him. Look at him. Piece of shit. You know, I've come a long way, and I'm helping a lot of other people come a long way. You guys tell me every day. And I did so because I became a free thinker. It's almost to the point now, whenever I hear a piece of health advice on TV, on social media, you know, in blog articles from healthymotherfuckerblog.com. You know, when I hear all of those now, I'm just like, you know, I pretty much probably should do the opposite of what this says. You could almost reverse your health problems if you just did the opposite of what most of these fuckers are telling people. Like, I'm pretty sure if you just did the exact opposite of what Dr. Greger tells you to do, you would be healthy in 6 months. No autoimmune problems. All of that shit, you know, and, you know, vegans lose weight and they look healthy, but they're not healthy. You can look healthy. You don't have to do none of this shit to look healthy. That's not the problem we're having in this country. It's not the problem we're having in the world. It became more about health and less about looks for me a long time ago. And, you know, especially with the dissolution of my relationships, you know, I have no motivation to give a fuck about how I look. It's why I'm not in the gym pounding the fuckmaster trying to put some muscle where all the fat used to be. Because I don't really need it. I do the things I want to do. I don't have a problem doing the things I want to do, and I'm just going to not waste my time in the gym. I have plenty of other things I want to be doing with my time. And I made all of this progress, good blood work, pretty much normal weight, normal measurement under 36 inches around the belly, which is healthy. That means my visceral fat's fine. That means I probably don't have fatty liver anymore. My blood tests kind of confirm that. And I know I had that before. And I've come a long way. And I did so because I stepped outside the box. So the carnivore diet. This is as far out of the box you can currently get. It's probably considered down there with the potato diet, you know, or the banana diet, or all these other fucking diets that pretty much let you eat one thing. And therein lies my issue with it. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the number one benefit that I've noticed over the past week. I tend to have these mood cycles which dip. And, you know, they used to crater. They used to be like some earth-shattering fucking asteroid just destroyed a planet shit going on. But now it's just, you know, that used to be a little rolling hill down, a little hill up, and that was on keto. Keto took me from the craters to the rolling hills. Carnivore has put me on a nice flat road. Not going up, not going down. Right there, nice, even pace. And that's fucking remarkable because of billions of dollars being spent on pharmaceutical industry just to treat depression alone. That says a lot about diet and a potential solution that doesn't just slap a Band-Aid on it and ultimately doesn't do shit for you, because I've been medicated before, but just completely normalizes you. And if you had no other benefits, if you like didn't lose weight, you know, you didn't have a fucking six-pack, you didn't look fuckable, and you took all of that shit away, and that was the only benefit you got from this diet, it's fucking worth it. I can tell you that. So, that being said, there are some things I do that I'm not going to be successful with carnivore. And I'm going to experiment with what I can get away with. First of all, my sweetener. I can't kick that habit. There is absolutely no sweetness in the carnivore diet. None. Zero, zilch, zip. And so I've already started reintroducing my Stevia or Splenda Naturals, which is stevia and erythritol with no other ingredients, just that. Very sparingly. Like, I'll put one in every other cup of coffee, you know, just to give me a little sweet. And sometimes I will pour it in my yogurt as a dessert, because that's the only dessert I can pretty much do on a carnivore diet. So I couldn't kick the artificial sweetener habit. It's just too much of one, savory and not enough sweet in my life, and I still need some of that sweet. It's a mental thing too. It's not even a physical craving or any issue like that. I just like the variety, the changing things up from time to time. So for the rest of the carnivore diet, there will still be a little bit of, stevia erythritol in my life, which is from plants. But then again, so is coffee. So those are the two plants that I'm mainly drawing from. Still not doing the chocolate till at the end of the 30 days because I want to establish the baseline of what this, does for me when I reintroduce each individual thing. As I have if I spend a while on the diet and I don't see any negative impacts, especially emotionally, of having the sweetener in there, then I will introduce the chocolate next. And then I'll go a few weeks and see if there's a negative impact for that. And if I reintroduce these things, one at a time, slowly over time, until I feel like shit. And then at the point where I feel like shit, I know that is where I got to stop. I got to dial it back to when I didn't feel like shit and press on from there. That's how I'm going to treat the carnivore diet going forward. So it will eventually become keto without a lot of veg. I do know I'm not going back to veg. The green vegetables, that kind of stuff, salads, gone. I don't want to deal with those anymore. I have not missed those. I do not want those. Yes, it limits my options when eating out, but I'd rather eat nothing than eat those salads because I know I don't have to eat them, and I know what they do contribute to. And they contribute to digestive issues. They contribute to autoimmune problems and gas. Believe it or not, I fart less. I know you want to know this. It's why you fucking came to my channel, because you want to hear about how much fucking gas I'm putting out of my ass. Well, you know what? I fart less, which is fucking weird for me. I'm usually a pretty gassy motherfucker and shit. So I don't want to go back to filling my gut full of fiber. I like there's no food that I'm sick of on the carnivore diet. Let's put it that way. I could eat steak all day. I could eat burgers, chicken wings, fucking eggs. I do cheese and dairy still, and I don't have a problem doing those. And so those are the things that I plan on continuing to do. And at the end of the 30 days, I'm going to reintroduce the chocolate first, and then I might, after, if that goes well, reintroduce my nuts as far as pecans and all of that. I have a funny feeling pecans are that's a questionable, that might bring me back into the realm of fucked. In which case I'll dial it back to just the chocolate and the Splenda Naturals. So there's that. So that's what I'm looking at for planning wise going forward with this shit. Now, as far as how has my weight been, I have not been fasting. Unless you consider 16 and 8 fasting, I no longer do. I consider that is a normal eating pattern that we should all be doing anyway. I wouldn't even call it a fast. You can't really lose weight on a 16 and 8 unless you're doing intense amounts of exercise. But guess what? You can lose weight doing intense amounts of exercise anyway. And I would consider 16 and 8. Not even a maintenance protocol in some instances. But when you're carnivore and you're on that 16 and 8, you will not regain weight and you will not lose weight. You will fluctuate within a 2 to 3 pound window. 3 pounds when you just ate, and it takes a few days for that to go away. But generally, I have bounced between 189 and 191 the entire week. I was 189 this morning. My measurement around my belly, I do notice an occasional bloating, particularly if I eat out. And I am pretty much ruling that as there's some vegetable oil getting into my life somehow. I know I had some chicken wings the other night as an appetizer to my prime rib, because I go out once a week and have a nice meal. And I think that's what bloated me, because the rest of the day I was bloated, but I woke up just fine. So I'm still trying to deal with the vegetable oil. The key is obviously not to eat out as often. It's really that simple. If you don't eat out, you're not going to get exposed to this shit. And that's the second time I've eaten out and noticed something negative afterwards physically. So there's that. It is what it is. I still need to be social. I still need to be a happy motherfucker. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to modify this. You don't have to lock yourself in a room with a bunch of red meat and fucking just sit there and eat red meat all the time. There's cases that could be made to say you could have an occasional keto cheat day where you could eat a lot of keto foods or even some veg if you were so inclined, and then just drop back to that. There's a whole bunch of experimentation. Once I've established the 30 days isn't going to kill me on the carnivore diet, to where you can bring back a food occasionally that really doesn't belong in the diet, but might not set you back here and there. So it's a question of adaptation. It's a question. These are all things I want to answer going forward. I don't know what to call like a hybrid keto fucking carnivore diet. Other than it's very low carb, because if I'm not eating the veg, for the most part, I'm probably going to be in the neighborhood of 10 to maybe 20 or 30 grams of carbs a day instead of up to 50 like I used to be. If I bring the nuts back, that'll be a different issue. And I'll have more fiber in my life if I bring the nuts back. There's a little bit of fiber in the chocolate, but the nuts would bring some. Pecans are pretty fibrous. There's a lot of fiber in pecans. So it would be curious. As far as weight loss stable, belly stable, bathroom, it's still a little rough. I have improved since I started downing more water, making sure I load up on salt and stuff, and taking more magnesium baths. So the bathroom trips are rough, but they got a little, I guess, easier to deal with. They're still, solid. Good, solid, kerplunk type action. I'm sure you want to know that. Aren't you glad you watch my shit, so to speak? That's good. The bathroom is improving. It's tolerable. If I were to stay 100% carnivore and had to shit like that the rest of my life, it would be fine. It's not provoking any injury, soreness, or any issues. I can go. It's just requires a little effort instead of a nice relaxing. There's no blood or any issues there. Everything looks good. It's just a question of not enough hydration, I believe, because I drink a lot of coffee, and I don't want to change that. Coffee is my last vice. I'm not giving it up. It's something I enjoy. It's something I do in my social situations to get through without doing other bad shit. So it's my crutch. It's what gets me through life as far as difficult eating situations go. I will probably remain carnivore through my trip. Just because I want to see what it's like on the road to do that, what happens. But it'll put me in situations where I can't get to a grocery store, and what do I do? And I want to be able to answer that question for people who want to try this, that, might not be able to run to the grocery store or cook, for that matter. And there are solutions for that. They're not ideal. They're not the most healthiest things in the world. Like, eating a hot dog from a fucking vendor, for example, probably not healthy, but it's not going to kill you either. It's not going to set you back. So I do want to stay with that through my trip. I debated repeatedly on whether or not to take a holiday from sobriety during my trip to Carolina Rebellion, for those of you who don't know. It's like a 3-day music festival. I got the campgrounds going, and I will eventually be on my way on the road by the end of the month. So I debated whether or not to drink for that. And I've repeatedly debated. And every time I think about drinking, I look around. It happens I work in a bar part-time. And I see what the alcohol is doing to people. Some people it's not doing a good thing for. Some people are fine, they're just living their life. They're not necessarily healthy because of it, but they're all right. They're not destroying their life. But there are some people that I've seen that it's not good. It's destroying. It's taking them apart piece by piece. And that is how I managed to say, no, I will not be drinking, breaking my sobriety. I've been sober since December. And there's no reason to change that just because I'm at a music festival. So there will be no alcohol in my near future. I have to revisit that for some other trips in the future, and I may try and be a social drinker at some point, but I want to make sure the addiction's gone. And if I ever do drink, it isn't going to be like I used to. It would have to be to the point where I could have 1 or 2 drinks tops. And I think I would need to keep it at that. That's where it would keep me from piling over into the alcoholic range that I was in. So that's all. That's an update for everything I've been fucking doing. So sweetener is back, even though I'm still carnivore. I've noticed, I've been doing that for a couple days and haven't noticed too much in the way of ill effects. I did notice I seem a bit hungrier. But since I did carnivore, I can tell you I've been pounding meals. I definitely don't get satiated as quickly when I'm carnivore. But when I do get full while eating, I remain full for a very long time. For example, I went pretty much a full 19 hours before I even remotely had that, I could eat something hunger, after having a prime rib dinner. And it was a pretty big prime rib. It was like 20 ounces, which is 1,500 calories and 100 grams of protein in one meal. It was my only meal for the day. So, I didn't break that 2 kilogram body weight rule, I don't think. But overall, I do think I am making a little bit more glycogen on this diet, but not much more. Not enough to really move the needle. I have with a 2 to 3 pound swing, that's not the full amount of glycogen that, I know I've seen 4 to 8 pounds in water weight swings when you fill up your glycogen. So it's a little bit more glycogen than the ketogenic diet. Am I keto? I don't know. I haven't tested. I will the last week of this challenge. I'm going to do some keto strips and see, I'll do a couple of them just to see if I'm in ketosis on this diet. I don't know. I theoretically should be, but who knows? I know I'm eating a lot more protein than I used to. So that'll be another question I want to answer on this diet. So let me know what you think. If you too have been doing this challenge or have in the past or are currently carnivore, I love to hear from you guys in the comments on how it went for you, how it's going for you, some of the pitfalls. Do you allow yourself to step outside of the diet at all and have a keto cheat day? I'm not saying go back to that standard American diet grain-based shit ever. But I am saying, do you allow yourself an occasional vegetable or nuts or something like that cheat day? I would love to hear how that affects you if you've done it, and basically how you are doing as a carnivore. For those of you who are not ever going to do this and just want to be keto forever, don't worry. I'm coming back to the fold, technically. But I'll never be the same keto I started. That's the one thing I want to try and do as much as I can to hold on to that flat, plain road of emotional stability that I've been on this diet. And that's in just a week of doing it. Granted, I was keto for a while before that, a long while. Which probably helped, but overall, I like that. That is worth it. Like I said, if no other benefits other than that, and I don't want to fucking just give that up. And maybe it'll come down to I can't have any extra shit. Maybe just the artificial sweeteners as far as I could go. I'm going to do a week of that to make sure I don't hit my depressive levels. But it basically is what can I bring back without removing the emotional stability benefit? Because, weight loss, no benefit there really. My measurements, it's a great weight maintenance protocol, by the way. If you ever have struggling with weight maintenance, you're not going to get fat on a carnivore diet ever. You might pick up a 2 to 3 pound swing, but I can tell you, nope. Steady within a 3 pound variance is excellent. That means I'm doing something right. If I'm maintaining a 3 pound variance on my current weight, that's awesome. I've seen 8 pound swings on just pretty back in the standard American diet days, and the fact that I'm eating a lot and I feel full for longer. Granted, I have to eat more before I become full, but I stay full longer, is phenomenal. So if you're ever thinking that this diet, aside from the concerns that people have, but if you've researched your way through those and tested them your way through those, and I am convinced, because of the lack of ill effects and mostly positive benefits that I have had so far, that we've been just stuffed full of shit on this meat is bad, you got to eat tons of veg shit. And it never made sense to me because I spent most of my life not eating a lot of veg, and I was only becoming diabetic because of the sugar, carbs, grains, and that stuff. And my, allergies obviously came from those too, because those have gone away. And, that's a lot of evidence against what they're telling us we're supposed to be eating. So do your own homework. Don't ever just do shit just because I'm doing shit. Go out there and learn shit first. Then try some shit. And then eventually you'll lose weight and shit. And get healthy and shit. And get off meds and shit. And sometimes just shit and shit. That was like some philosophy and shit. But remember, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. Please like and subscribe for more of my shit, and I'll make more. There's going to be swearing. There's going to be, that's my thing, because I don't have a filter. You don't want to see this filtered. Or maybe you do. Maybe through some sunglasses or some shit. Also, you can go to ScottTheTruckDriver.com and leave a tip in the tip jar if you found this video helpful or entertaining, and you want to support the channel. That's a way to do it. Allows me to spend more time doing this. As far as channel news, I still plan on not putting a limit on, not setting a certain amount of videos per week. However, I haven't gone live in a while, so I plan on going live on Friday. So there will be a live Q&A where you can pretty much ask me about everything that you want. I'm actually going to try and show up to that without a topic. I feel like I waste a whole lot of it going through a topic, which could just end up in a video instead. I think I'm going to start out with something light to keep, until I see people are starting to talk. And then I will go into a Q&A, and then most of it will be interactive with you guys. So a live Q&A on Friday, and we'll see how that goes. It's a little bit of a different format. So enjoy your meat, and if you like veg, then eat your veg. It's not, just because I'm doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. But don't take a shit on what I'm doing just because that's what you're doing. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shitting on what I'm doing going on in the world. But who knows? Maybe, eventually this will catch on. If it does, we're going to have to completely restructure our food environment. So there's that. Have a nice motherfucking day. And shit. Oh, you want me to say some more shit? I got nothing. Love you. Bye-bye.